After applying the dye to my hair, I checked the time and made a mental note of when I'd have to rinse it out. For most people, dyeing one's hair isn't anything special, but I was ecstatic as I scrolled through the collection of movies on my laptop, trying to find one compelling enough to distract me while I waited. As a teenager, I was insanely jealous of my mother. She had natural, perfectly straight platinum hair that I desired so badly, but I had inherited my father's much darker shade of dirty blonde. While I had, luckily, inherited her vampire-pale skin and crystal blue eyes, I had always felt I'd never be as beautiful as my mother without that nearly silver sheet that cascaded over her shoulders. My parents both agreed that I would not be allowed to dye my hair until I was 18, so for all my youth I had to watch my male friends admire her more than I, listen to the female ones gush over her perfection, the perfection I too would have if I could only dye my hair. Once my 18th birthday was about 6 months off, I started counting the days down to when I would become as gorgeous as my mother. I would finally have the final feature I needed. Strangers would look at me now, not her. My friends would forget all about her. Maybe I'd even attract the attention of modeling agencies. The possibilities seemed endless. I was ripped from my daydream when the alarm I'd set for 30 minutes forced me back into reality. I leapt from my seat excitedly and sprinted to the bathroom. This was it. I set my water to my usual just shy of melting my skin off hot and stepped in. I squeezed my eyes shut as hard as I could to avoid any dye running down and blinding me, as I had read this was entirely possible. The dye felt a little like washing out shampoo, but I was surprised at how long it was taking to completely rinse out. Conditioner isn't even this difficult, I thought, but it would be worth it when I was finished. Right as I was ready to open my eyes, I felt the hand shove my shoulder. I fought to hold my upright position, but the dye was just too slick under my feet. I hit my head hard on the wall as I fell and blacked out. The next thing I can remember is hearing soft voices. I couldn't see anything. Had I been blinded? No. I just couldn't open my eyes. Then I realized I couldn't move any part of my body at all. Fear overtook me and I wanted to scream, but no noise would escape. Is she ever gonna wake up? I heard my dad's voice crack. He must have been crying. I'm afraid we don't know for sure, a stranger's voice responded. She could wake up, or she may stay in the coma for the rest of her life. I suppose we should pull the plug. This time it was my mother. She sounded like my dad, devastated, exhausted. My dad made several attempts to speak before he finally managed to croak. I guess so. They were gonna kill me. Oh God. I have to move. I have to speak. I have to do something to let them know I was here. Don't pull the plug, please. I swear I'm alive. I swear I'm alive. I frantically tried to make any movement, any sound, but it was all for naught. This was the end. After many tears and sweet words, I heard them decide it was time to release me. I knew if I could, I'd be crying. All this just to be a Blondie. All this for nothing. I heard what sounded like a series of switches being pulled and felt my chest tighten up. I was suffocating. I heard my mom tell my dad she would join him in the car after she sat with me for a little while. I heard a door open and footsteps descend. My mother sighed. I felt her cool breath on my arm, followed by her hand tenderly stroking my skin. Then a miracle happened. I could see. I had managed to open my eyes. I looked at my mom, mentally begging her to notice and save me. She met my gaze, and her eyes widened. She immediately rose and headed towards the door. Yes, I would live. Thank goodness she stayed a little longer. But she didn't leave the room. She just poked her head out, looked in both directions, and returned to her seat as my vision went blurry. The last thing I heard was my mother whispering in my ear, "I'm the only Blondie your father needs."